Jake, anything new on Zed yet?
Yeah, Clay, unfortunately, no updates right now. I'm sure Coach will get to you as soon as we get something, but nothing right now.
What's the best way to get that out of your system from last night? Go beat Maryland?
Got to move forward. Obviously, we'll review with the team some film and stuff today, but got to turn the page quickly. In this league with this type of turnaround, got to be able to turn the page quickly.
Thank you.
We have Steve Hellwagon and Patrick Murphy on deck. Steve.
Hey, Jake. Question I have, you looked out there in the second half with Felix playing so many minutes. I think at one point you guys had a lineup out there with the four freshmen who are playing quite a bit, and maybe Tanner Holden may have been out there with them. I don't recall, but just how remarkable is that? And, you know, that for the most part, those guys were able to kind of keep you in this game, playing heavy minutes as they had to, just the maturation process for those young guys to be able to be in a moment like that.
Yeah. I don't know that necessarily it was, designed that way going into it, but I think the depth of our team is certainly a strength. We've been confident, with those four freshmen, along with, some of the transfers we added this year who are new to the program, that we felt depth could be a strength for us. And, I think last night when you have a situation like Zed getting hurt, that depth was able to shine in that at that time. And, we've had a lot of different lineups, but we got a lot of belief in a lot of different guys. So we believe in our depth, and I think you're going to continue to see times where we'll have a lot of young guys there or five new guys on the court at the same time. And, last night's game called for that.
Just in terms of Bryce, what is it about him that's really stood out in your mind, or where has he even grown from October to now to where he is, in a sense, able to do this game after game after game? What's he really come on with, I guess?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things to add to that question. One, his mentality from an offensive standpoint is special. I think he's got high level belief in himself. We've seen guys come through our program who have had similar belief, and they've had a lot of success because I think we give guys freedom, to do that. And I think the second part is he works really hard. One of the things that we've had success with in kind of our player development program is helping guys kind of elevate their work ethic and work capacity. And he's really bought into that, spends a lot of extra time. And quite honestly, Steve, he's earned the right to play well and to score how he has. So, his ability to grow, or his willingness to grow and be coached, and his work ethic, and, at the end of the day, he's a bucket getter. I think sometimes you can over analyze it, but some guys have a gift, and I think he has it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go Patrick Murphy with Adam Jardy on deck. Patrick.
Hey, Jake, thanks for doing this with us. Could you take us back to when you guys were first looking at Bruce and what you saw from him that, obviously the talent was there, but led you to believe, okay, this is a guy who can really run our team, and obviously forward to now what he's doing on the court for you guys? Yeah,
I think, we obviously, while we were recruiting those guys, it was a lot of film watching. And I think that even gave us deeper insight, because you had to really focus on film more than you ever had before. And it gave us deeper insight to the type of player he is. And I think what we saw from the very beginning was a really tough kid, a smart kid, a poised kid. And, I think he's shown that. I think he's shown that consistently. I know last night wasn't maybe his best game, but I still think he did some things really well. His assist to turnover ratio this season speaks to, the maturity to his game. And I expect there's no reason, to believe otherwise. I expect him to continue to grow and improve. And, he's certainly a huge part of our team.
So there's been no surprises in terms of what he's delivered on the court based on what you saw in high school, AAU, all that stuff.
Yeah, we tracked his numbers. I'd say, maybe the efficiency. We thought he would be an efficient player, but I think his shooting, has been even at a higher level than what we anticipated, at least to this point in his career. But again, that's a product of hard work. I think when you look at those guys, you look at the guys that come into our program and you see this kind of quick growth and development. The most important kind of ingredient to that recipe is hard work. And that's the thing all the guys have in common. Some guys need to grow in that area when they get here, but Bruce, Bryce, Felix, Roddy, all have a really, really good work ethics.
All right, we'll go Adam Jardy with Griffin Strom on deck. Adam.
Hey, Jake, thanks for doing this. Thinking about last night losing Zed in the first couple of minutes, Sean goes down for a while with the ankle, and Holtman said after the game that Bruce was a little under the weather this week. I thought he looked fatigued during that game. How much did the game plan change as the game went on, maybe adapting to all of those situations and trying to figure out like what you could realistically expect your players to do when you're down one guy and you got two guys that are limited who are key contributors?
Yeah, I wish I could say that we plan for all these different scenarios going into a game. And the reality is, the quality of opponent in this league is so good that you go into games focused on kind of having all of your resources available when you game plan. I think one of the things that makes Coach so special is his ability to adjust on the fly. A lot of that comes from, we do prepare in a lot of different ways, but I thought his ability to adjust from a lineup standpoint, being thrown kind of those two wrinkles with Zed and Sean was really important. And again, I think Coach instills belief in our guys and our depth. That's important, but we have to adjust. We had to make some adjustments both offensively and defensively, not just because of what Purdue was doing, but because of some of the personnel things. So I think Coach's ability to adjust on the fly is really special.
How sick was Bruce leading into the game, and how much did that play affect Sean? I mean, obviously he came back, it's a big shot at the end, but are there any concerns about him moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I not that I'm aware of. I think, I'm sure he's going to be feeling it a little bit today, and we'll see how long that lasts. But, I think it's that time of year where you're going to have, periodically you're going to have guys under the weather. And, I thought Bruce handled it really well. It's hard to say. He's not a guy who complains or, reveals when there's issues. He just kind of comes and does his work every day. So it might have affected more than he led on to believe. But that's hard to say, Adam. But I think I was proud of how tough he was, because, he didn't once ask or complain, about anything.
All right, we'll go Griffin Strom and then Andy Baxter. Griffin.
Hey, Jake, obviously with you operating the offense this year, since, Ryan left and everything like that, you guys are like a fraction out of being the most efficient offense in the country in terms of KenPom and stuff like that. I'm just wondering, I guess for you, any challenges in that adjustment from, last year to this year, but then also what you think kind of the biggest strengths or things that have been able to lead your guys' group to having such, phenomenal numbers in that department.
You mean besides the big shoes to fill, I assume, right? No, I think, Ryan obviously did an unbelievable job, when he was here, and I learned a lot from him. I think there's no question about that. But this team is very different than I think the teams we've had. So, Coach and I had to spend a lot of time thinking through, how to best, put our team in position. And some of that includes running some things we've run over the past, but a lot of it's been new and different. And I think Holt's willingness to adjust to the roster he has is a critical part of the offensive success that, the sustained offensive success that we've had here. But you know, we felt like we had, versatility was a strength for us, offensively. And we felt like we had multiple players, maybe more depth from an offensive talent standpoint at this point of different guys' careers that we felt we needed to take advantage of. And that includes playing a little bit faster, includes some, different spacing things than we've done in the past. But, I think Holt's really gifted at tailoring kind of, what we do from an offensive standpoint to that specific team. I don't think you can look and say, man, Ohio State runs the same thing every year. That's not really how we're built. We're built to adjust to kind of who we have. There will be some things that are staples for us, but we've tried to really focus on the strengths of this team. And a big part of my job is to put our guys into situations where they have an advantage. And we've been able to do that, so far.
And then Maryland is another top 30 defensive team in terms of KenPom. I don't know how much you've gotten to dive into that, but they've got a lot of, senior guards, perimeter oriented defenders and things like that. Just their strengths defensively and the challenges they present.
Yeah, I think one of the strengths, their defense is their versatility, and their ability to have multiple guys that can guard multiple positions. I expect to see crowds like we've seen, throughout this season. I think our guys have handled it pretty well. We have to continue to move the ball. We have to continue to move and cut. But their versatility is a strength for them. I think if you kind of look at their numbers, especially at home, they've really been able to turn some teams over. And we got to be strong with the ball, protect the ball. But they're a good defensive team. There's no question about it. I think sometimes you can look at numbers and say, man, what do those numbers mean exactly? But, on tape, they're a good defensive team. There's just, no other way about it.
All right, we'll go Andy Backstrom with Jack Emerson on deck. Andy.
Hey, Jake, just wanted to ask about, towards the end of games this year, Bryce has had the ball in his hands, and you guys have had the opportunity to have late game situations against whether it was Rutgers, Carolina, most recently, obviously last night. When you're a young player like Bryce is and you have that opportunity to have so many chances like that towards the end, good or bad, how valuable are those opportunities this early in a career like that?
Yeah, very valuable. There's no question about it. He's confident though. We're confident in him. And I think these end of games have been great for our entire team, not just necessarily the guy who takes the last shot or the one or two guys who are involved in the last action. I think, but Bryce's confidence is something I don't know that the score or the time, has a huge impact on that for him. And coach has had no issue. That's been obvious over the last couple of years of putting the ball in young players' hands at the end of the game. And I think it's been good for us. So, but he's done a good job. Bryce has done a good job in those situations for us this year.
All right, and we'll go with Jack Emerson. Jack.
Hey, good morning, Coach. We talked quite a bit about the freshman today. I want to ask you about Roddy Gale. We've talked with Coach Holtman a bunch about him. He said so far his defense might be a little bit ahead of his offense, but how have you kind of seen him grow as an offensive player since he's been?
Yeah, we've Roddy's a really talented player, and I think sometimes, when you have players kind of like Malachi or Bryce from a production standpoint early, as freshmen, it can kind of get lost, and it almost seems easier, to do than what it actually is. But we have high level belief in Roddy's talent. He's certainly been really impactful defensively for us. He's got great, athleticism, and I think he's a smart player. Defensively, I think the game's just got to continue to slow down for him a little bit. He's gotten better as far as kind of protecting the ball, and we believe in his scoring ability. Hit a big shot, last night opposite our bench on the left baseline. So it's going to continue to happen for him. I think for most freshmen, right, you see kind of this moment during the season where it starts to click and slow down, and we believe it's just a matter of time that'll happen for him.
All right, we'll finish up with a follow-up each from Patrick Murphy and then Adam Jardy.
Yeah, Jake, late in the game, last night, I think it was on Sean's three-pointer, the possession. Bryce doesn't touch the ball at all, on a key offensive possession. How much does that show, as much as we've just talked about what Bryce can do offensively, how much you guys have on the offensive end that you can run a possession in a late game against the number one team in the country? Maybe your best offensive player doesn't touch the ball and you still get a good look and a 3-pointer out of it with other guys making plays.
Yeah, again, the depth of this team, from an offensive talent standpoint is really good. It's really good. Sean is a proven scorer in high major basketball. Justice is a proven scorer in high major basketball. Bruce has, again, his numbers have been good. Bryce, obviously, numbers have been good. And Zed has produced at a high level this year. So I think, when in those situations, you're considering a lot of factors, what teams are going to do defensively, where there's going to be space on the court. We have multiple guys we can go to, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing for us. And, we'll continue to explore kind of what's best in those moments. But Sean made a big shot. It's a big shot.
All right, we'll finish with Adam. Go ahead, Adam.
Jake, with ice, obviously, when guys come back after missing some time, roles change, situations change, conditioning changes. His minutes have not been the same that they were. Obviously, he doesn't just slide right back in the starting lineup. But are you asking him to do anything different? Has his role changed at all since he returned, or is it more of just like kind of getting back into the swing of things after some time off?
Yeah, I think both. I think his role has changed a little bit, and part of that is because he's still getting back into the swing of things, and some other guys have kind of see some opportunity there, and that's something we're gonna have to continue to navigate. But Ice has been great. He's obviously had his experience as a gift for him, and how he's worked through this progression kind of after having that time has been good, and his energy and his talk and his leadership has been really good. So we expect him to continue to grow, to get back to kind of where he was from conditioning and kind of rhythm standpoint.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate the questions, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jake.